Hey, good morning, everybody. Uh, Welcome to Ask a Painter. I'm Nick Slavic. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. And this is now we are just past the 10th anniversary of this show, which means for over 520 weeks consecutively, 522 to be exact, I have broadcasted live here to kind of show you the life of a master craftsperson and a paint business entrepreneur. Now, there was not a lot of fanfare when we crossed the 10th anniversary line, 520 weeks consecutively broadcasting this sort of thing to you guys. And there's kind of a reason for that. I was in Australia and there was a lot of stuff going on, but I have made arrangements for a special 10th anniversary show that will actually take place at the summer retreat. The retreat with me in the summer with all my people. I have a special guest host, probably the host that people like even more than me on this show, and they're cooking up something special for you guys. So in August, we will actually celebrate the 10th anniversary of this show. I say this because 10th anniversary is a big deal. For anybody to do anything consecutively 520 weeks in a row is pretty phenomenal, especially me. I am not that consistent person. I'm a visionary, founder, scaler, that sort of thing. I like new things, change, shiny objects, things like that. So it's not like me to do that, but I did, and I'm very proud of it. And there's going to be some very special people with me, as you can imagine, at the retreat to celebrate this commemoration. Now, I say this because, like, I am not a person who celebrates a lot of birthdays. I didn't grow up with a lot of fanfare around birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas, anniversaries, Father's Day, which we are today. I say this because you, I wrote I wrote a one-page weekly this morning. My family is asleep. The birds are chirping. The dogs are wandering around the house. It's Father's Day, and I wrote this story. It's not a story. It was actually happened, but it's the story of my father in the chimney. And what's really funny is that I had gone through my one-page weekly standard operating procedure. Jonas Pintor, bom dia, my friend, down in Brazil. Good to see you. I'd gone through my one-page weekly standard operating procedure. I have a really nice little thing. I just follow my procedure, and it's just awesome. I love my writing assignment. I dub my voice over it. I get a video from my farm, typically with the nice background noises like you're hearing now. And then I put it all together. When I put it all together, I'm sitting here and I'm looking around. I'm waiting for the video to process. I'm like, oh, it's Father's Day. Like, what a weird... I was thinking about this story all week. I don't drive past the neighborhood where this story occurred, this crazy chimney that we had to paint. Long story short, my father did it and I couldn't do it. I got scared and did not do it. And I had a lot of thoughts after that. This is back when I was on leave from the Army, but I drove past the neighborhood where it occurred. And this was earlier in the week. And I thought, you know what? I should write about that thing. I haven't told that story. It's been 10 years of broadcast and live. I think I've only mentioned the story once or twice in the history of any of this stuff through any professional sort of thing. It's something I think about every couple weeks, give or take. But I drove past the neighborhood and I'm like, yeah, it's probably time to put that down. So I'm waiting for the video to process. And I was like, hold on a second. I love how life works sometimes. I've held on to this story, not because I was saving it for something, but it just never occurred to me to put it in One Page Weekly. It's been almost 2 years of One Page Weekly now. It never occurred to me to do it there. It never occurred to me to put it in a show of Ask a Painter. And it happens to be Father's Day. So I actually got my mics back out and I recut an intro to it saying, you guys ain't going to believe this. This is how crazy life works. I wrote about one of the most foundational moments of my entire life. It happened to be with my father, and it happens to be Father's Day. That is a weird little coinky-dink, and it was very interesting. So after the video's processing, I'll get it out there. You can find it on any of my socials. It's the longest one-page weekly I've ever done. It's like 9 minutes or something. They're all bite-sized. They're all 4 to 5 minutes. This one ends up being 9 minutes. I cheated my one-page thing. I love one-pagers. Typically, I go 10 to 12 font on a one-page weekly. It's about 4 to 5 minutes worth of reading, give or take. I had to scrunch this one down to about 8 font, and for that reason, there's about 9 minutes of reading in it this week. But I thought it was important to flush the whole story out and things like that. When this Ask a Painter Live is done, I'm going to re-edit the show post for this, and I'll drop in the link for it. Like I said, you can find it in my social media feeds right now, but I will put the link back in here so you can link directly to the Spotify thing for that. But I'm going to give you a real quick condensed version here. And then you guys can go listen and watch the full one on Spotify whenever you like. So the setting is I'm home on leave from the Army. I was a recently pinned paratrooper. I had been through airborne school. I was young. I might have been 18, 19 at the time, give or take. Come home from leave, and I was painting with Dad like I always do. I would come home for Christmas leave. I'd come home on all this other stuff, and I would paint, make a lot of cash, things like that. Morning, Jeff Adkins. Good to see you. And I was painting, and my father saved like the gnarliest spot on a house for when I was back from the military. It was pretty obvious he didn't want to do it. It was I'll save you a lot of the details. I went into a pretty thorough description of it, but a huge backside of a house, chimney, 3-sided bump out that goes 3 stories up plus. And so I put a 32-foot ladder up. It just touched the gutter. There was still a whole bunch of chimney above it there. Not crazy. I mean, this is not like the biggest house in Minnesota. This is pretty standard sort of thing that we do here. And but the ladder just barely touched the gutter. And then I was to shimmy onto the roof and paint this 7 feet of chimney that went above the roof, give or take, which typically isn't a problem. But when you're standing 3 stories above a sheer drop into somebody's backyard, it's different than standing on like my house right here is a rambler. It's 9 feet high, 10 feet high, give or take. When you're standing on the roof, you dance around, jump around, this and that. You're 30 feet in the air with the same thing. You have different feelings about the entire thing. So I'm very cautious. Very long story short. I just couldn't get myself to do it. Like I just worked myself up, tried to find a good way to do it. And I have a good feeling I could have easily got onto the roof. The problem was there's nothing to hold on to. There's a 32-foot drop, give or take, off the backside. And I had to shimmy back off the roof, slide down the roof, and then get myself onto this extension ladder and go back down. And man, everything in my body was telling me that this is just not right. And I had a lot of very sort of tough feelings about this sort of thing because, again, there's already this unresolved father-son sort of like thing that's been going on for 18 or 19 years, right? A lot of tension there. And I was home on leave from the Army, a big bad soldier, and I'm going to come home and do this stuff. And recently back from airborne school too, which is like, well, fear of heights, all that other stuff, like no big deal, right? This young cock-strong soldier going to come home and take care of this chimney real quick. Man, everything in my body was just like, dude, I've done this hundreds of times before since I was 10 years old, climbing up on houses, doing all sorts of sketchy stuff, getting these houses painted. There were no safety training. There's no safety devices. There's no consideration for any of that stuff. We just did stuff as like family trades-based businesses did. And this one was the time where I was like, man, I've taken a lot of risks. And this just doesn't feel like it. I couldn't find that sort of like pro and con thing where it'd tip even 1% in the pro phase. So shimmied back down the ladder, told the old man I couldn't do it. I didn't feel good about it. And the story of what unfolded is all in the one-page weekly. So I will leave you guys with that today. I talked to my young painters about something. I'll give you this one anecdote here. That kind of aligns with the story. But when I was in my unit in the Army, it was an airborne unit, but not everybody was airborne qualified. And I was a mechanic. And there was this old crusty jump master, Sergeant Sean DeBro. And this dude was probably 260, 270 pounds, big African-American fella, commanding. I just loved his leadership skills. I loved the way he commanded. Like he commanded respect every single place that he went. And he was an E7 at the time, very, very experienced E7. and he was a jump master. Must have had, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jumps at the time. And he probably never remembers this because he probably told this to a million paratroopers. But when I was young, I was fully expecting the twinge in your gut of jumping out of a plane to go away. Eventually, you're like, yeah, of course you'll just like, just like when you run, you build up tolerance to lactic acid and you perform better and you do all this other stuff. Like you just get better and your tolerance builds up and the bad things go away. It's like when I used to travel for work 8 years ago, I used to get a twinge in my gut when we would take off and land, and that stuff just went away. Now I'm reading a book, I'm working on a computer, doing a spreadsheet, don't even know we take off and land, right? He said something foundational to me at this time, which was, I said, Sergeant DeBro, when does this like queasiness and twinge in the gut go away? And I don't remember his exact words, but it was basically, you're lucky that that's there because that tells you something. And it keeps you locked in to the experience. It makes sure that you are present. Both mind and body are in the same place. So you pay attention to the standard operating procedure, to the procedures we go to inspect our equipment, to get on the plane. You stand up your thing, you hook up your static line, and you go out the plane like that. Said, if that twinge in your gut, if that sort of thing goes away, you're going to be lackadaisical and you're not going to pay attention and mistakes are going to be made. So be happy that you have the twinge in the gut. And so I say that because like people have this impression that because of those things and because I'm a house painter, like I have no fear of heights. I don't have a fear of heights. I have caution about heights. And I know exactly what to do to make sure it's safe. I know exactly how to operate at heights. I know exactly which equipment to do at heights. And I know how to do a very good job at heights. And that kind of dovetails with this entire story, which is this didn't feel right. And what's really interesting is that I never got that feeling jumping out of a plane with a parachute, a rucksack, or the same machine gun that Rambo used to carry. That should tell you something about what it felt like to be on the chimney that day with my dad. So thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate all you on Instagram here. Bon dia to all my friends down in Brazil. Thank you for watching as well. Raven Painting from Instagram. Trust your gut. Sometimes. That time was, I tell the story about the first time I did trust my gut, and that is the exact thing. So that's the starting point of me being an entrepreneur, a founder, a scaler, a leader, is learning to train your gut and trust your gut. So everybody have a great Father's Day. I will likely spend my entire Father's Day with my family. We got a baseball game. I think we're going to go bum around a little bit together, probably have a meal together, and I'm going to enjoy the Slavic farm and think about this most of the day. So appreciate you guys, and have a great Sunday. Have a great Father's Day.